Brian Daboll has been fired as the New York Giants head coach one day after playing the Chicago Bears. And honestly, this is one of the most enormous green flags I've ever seen the Chicago Bears put out in the past many, many years. Today, I'm going to break down the New York Giants at the Chicago Bears Week 9 game, where the Bears came out with an electric home fourth quarter victory. Due to the clutch of Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears offense, the Bears were able to come down from a big deficit in the fourth quarter to knock down the New York Giants, advance to 6-3, and give the Giants just another loss on their laundry list of fourth quarter collapses. So let me break it down for you. Brian Daboll has been fired. Let's talk about that first and then get to the Chicago Bears. This was really, really funny timing for the New York Giants to fire Brian Daboll. First of all, ask anybody who's watched ball. He should have been fired 1 year ago, if not 2 years ago, or any time in between. I actually don't think this was like the right decision by the New York Giants, because you trade up in the first round to draft Jackson Dart and you say, okay, this is your head coach, this is your regime, this is who you're going to play with. And it's not fair to blame the Giants for some of their offensive ineptitudes due to the injuries of Malik Neighbors and Cam Scatterbo. However, once you give a young kid a coach and you see some progress within that young quarterback, I don't think it's fair to take away that rookie's head coach in the middle of his development. Now, they should have fired Brian Daboll last offseason, or even the offseason before that, because he's never been good as a head coach outside of maybe his first year in the Giants in 2022 when they won a playoff game. But ever since then, it's been nothing but utter disaster for the New York Giants. And they should have paired up Jackson Dart with a head coach, with a new head coach, someone they actually believe in, instead of giving him someone who's already on the hot seat and who's fending for his job. Because not only do you have a coach who's making decisions only in his own self-interest when he's on the hot seat, but you're also risking that the rookie quarterback is going to have multiple different play callers in his rookie season, which is terrible for a rookie's development. And you see that happen all the time across the NFL. With Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams had 3 different offensive coordinators in his rookie year alone, 2 different head coaches, and now he's on his 3rd head coach in his 2nd year. And you can see that he's a little bit behind his development as a pro because of all the chaos that he's been through and how tumultuous the Chicago Bears coaching staff regime has been since he's been to the Bears. Now, for the Bears to take care of a team in such an embarrassing fashion that they have to fire their head coach is an enormous sign of development for the Chicago Bears culture, their ability to close games, and how well that this head coaching change has gone for Chicago. Chicago Bears, 6-3, okay? They have a top 10 rushing offense, a top 10 scoring offense, if I'm not mistaken, last time I checked. And you're seeing a lot of improvement, especially in certain areas for Caleb Williams. When you actually watch the tape on the Bears, they are not taking care of teams and putting them away. They are playing ugly football till the end and tiring them out in the fourth quarter. You saw this with Cincinnati, Washington, with the Giants yesterday. So let's talk about how the Bears have been able to develop a culture and a philosophy that's aided them greatly in winning the fourth quarter. And let's talk about some of the strengths and weaknesses that the Bears have to address in the back half of the season. After about the first 4 weeks of the season, 3-4 weeks, where the Bears were getting absolutely nothing out of their running game, they have been pounding the ball so much and playing football the right way ever since then. You've seen DeAndre Swift get much, much better in the past few weeks. And you've seen Kyle Monangai really establish himself as somebody who's going to be here for a while with the Bears and somebody who we can absolutely rely on. Last week against the Cincinnati Bengals, where the Bears won in electric fashion in the fourth quarter, Kyle Monangai had 26 carries for 176 yards and 3 receptions out of the backfield. This production was the most by a running back in the Bears' history since Matt Forte. So you understand that Ben Johnson has brought his run philosophy and his run-heavy offense to the Bears, and it's working already. Yesterday, DeAndre Swift had 13 for 80, averaging 6.2 a pop. Caleb Williams took it 8 times and had 63 yards, averaging 8 yards per carry, and a touchdown. One that was really, really clutch in the fourth quarter. Kyle Monangai went 7 for 28, averaging 4 yards a carry, and a touchdown for himself. Everyone who carries the ball in the Bears offense is doing so efficiently and keeping the defense really, really honest. When the Bears are closing out games, you're noticing that, unlike last year, the Bears are putting the ball in the hands of the running backs and letting them just go to work and wear out the clock rather than putting it in the hands of Caleb Williams. Now, When the Bears have put the ball in Caleb Williams' hands in the fourth quarter, it's gone really, really well either way. So you're starting to feel like the Bears can be a team that you do not want to get in a close game with in the fourth quarter. Now let's talk about something really, really interesting this year about the Chicago Bears that you wouldn't think is a good thing, and it's really not. Last year, Caleb Williams took a historic 68 sacks. And one of the biggest, if not the biggest goal for Ben Johnson this year was to clean up the offensive line protection and get the ball out of Caleb Williams' hands faster so he took less sacks. Now, that comes down to Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson. Ryan Poles addressed the interior offensive line and completely overhauled it. And now, midway through the 2025 season, we have a new left tackle. So 4 out of our 5 offensive linemen from last year have changed. Darnell Wright is an absolute savage, so he kept his job. But what Ben Johnson has actually not done yet with Caleb that people have not pointed out is that he is taking so long to throw the ball still. Yet, because of the much better protection due to the work of Ryan Poles in the offseason, Caleb Williams is taking less sacks while having a lot more time to throw. Caleb Williams leads the league in time to throw with about 3.2 average seconds to throw the ball per dropback. This is one of the areas of kind of concern for me with the Bears offense is that, yes, we're 6-3. Yes, we're making explosive plays, running the ball really, really well, and we're winning games. But Caleb Williams is missing some of the checkdowns and some of the open receivers that he could be hitting. This was a glaring problem in week 1 when he missed so many open receivers, and if he had hit those guys, we probably would have beat the Vikings. When you analyze the tape over the entire course of the season so far, you're noticing that Caleb Williams is holding the ball and scrambling probably more than you like to see because we want to eliminate the amount of time that Caleb Williams has to play hero ball. And we want to just let him play within a proper flow and structure of an offense. Now, when Caleb Williams does put on the cape and he does scramble and he does use that insane arm of his, it's electric. And you saw yesterday against the Giants that there would have been some Hall of Fame highlights if his receivers had caught some of his scramble throws. I'm thinking about DJ Moore and Olamide Zaccheaus. It was absolutely beautiful to watch Caleb Williams get to work yesterday. And we would have seen some of his career plays if it weren't for those bad drops. Another thing about the Bears offense that I'm not a fan of is that we're not using DJ Moore as much as I'd like to see. I think DJ Moore can be our best receiver if the offense was designed to be that way. You've seen that Rome Odunze has definitely taken the mantle as a wide receiver number 1 for the Chicago Bears. But when you look at DJ Moore's production, especially early in the season, I think it's gotten better as of late. But some of the games, you're like scratching your head at why he's not producing. You know, against the Cowboys, 4 catches for 21 yards. The Raiders, 4 catches for 38 yards. The Commanders, only 3 catches for 42 yards. The Saints, 3 catches for 43 yards. He's never had, outside of one time, 5 catches in a game. With the guy who is projected to be our number 1 receiver and the kind of the leader of our really deep weapons box, you're not seeing as much out of DJ Moore as I think we could. And I think if we get DJ Moore to work, then that actually will open up the offense even more so than it already is. I think the problem with DJ Moore and the Bears offense is that Caleb's accuracy has not developed either as much as you'd like to. His chemistry with Rome Odunze is top notch, but every time he targets DJ Moore, it feels like he's missing him or they're not on the same page or he's overthrowing him or whatever it may be. So the Bears sitting at 6-3, third in the division. Fuck. Can they make a playoff push? I don't know. The problem with the Bears is that they play the first 15 really well, and they play the fourth quarter really well, but it feels like their offensive production is really stagnant in the second and third quarter, and they're not playing a full 60 minutes of football on the offensive side. Now, the reason we're actually 6-3, despite some of those offensive issues, is that the defense has been extremely opportunistic. And the Bears lead the league in not only interceptions, but turnover differential with 14. So, to summarize, the Bears' run game is really good. The pass game still needs work. The consistency still needs work. And the defense, as long as they can continue to be ball hawks, we're going to put ourselves in really good position to continue to win games. But outside of that, we have a game against the Lions, a game against the Vikings, 2 against the Packers, 1 against the Eagles, 1 against the Steelers, and the 49ers. That is not a fun schedule to have, and if you start to see the Bears maybe lose some of these games, I wouldn't be so surprised because they have yet to reach their peak. And unless they can do so very, very soon, then some of those weaknesses that I talked about earlier, such as the inaccuracy, the inability to get the ball out on time, they might start to show their ugly head against these better defenses. But overall, I just wanted to get on here and rant about the Chicago Bears. I didn't really have anything prepared, so thank you for watching. I think, man, I'm absolutely loving what I'm seeing from the Chicago Bears. The fact that, you know, a team just fired their coach because we beat them so bad. Like, that is the best sign I've ever seen out of my football team in a really long time. What I'd like to see is them put away games faster so we're not coming up with miracles like in the fourth quarter like we have been. I'd also like to see the Bears offense play more consistent for fourth quarters, and I'd like to see Caleb Williams play in structure more. With that being said, thank you for watching. Bear down. And Brian Daboll, I don't know what's next for you, man.